When you think of first-person shooter games, some of the biggest names stand out, and for good reasons. These players have made a name in their sport. They've mastered their craft and turned a passion into a career. But what really sets them apart from other players? Is it something in their DNA? Or maybe it's their work ethic? What if I told you each one of these players has a solid base in what I like to call the 3 pillars? What are the 3 pillars? I'll use a house as an example. You can't begin building a house until you have a solid foundation. The 3 pillars are a foundation you can build on. In today's video, we will be discussing each pillar and how each pillar is necessary to succeed in any FPS game. Along with each pillar, we will be breaking down some of the best methods that these great players use in everyday situations. But before I go any further, let me introduce myself to those of you who are new. I am BRAVExHERO. I create videos to help other Destiny 2 Crucible players improve. If you enjoy this video, you might want to check out the others on my channel. And also, if you want to support me, you can do so by subscribing and clicking that like button. But nonetheless, let's get into the first pillar. In any FPS game, understanding movement and mechanics is a fundamental requirement for success. Highly skilled players display this day in and day out. But they didn't always start off like that. Have you ever heard of the term watching film? Professional athletes do it all the time. It's where they rewatch old footage or footage of their competition to see what adjustments are needed. In a football basketball outlook, one of the main reasons a player rewatches film is to help learn the game. Not just their position, but every other position on the court. And the reason for that is that they are trying to understand the game from every perspective. Essentially, they are building up their IQ in their respective sport. Now, how does this relate to gaming and Destiny in general? I'm sure you've heard other YouTubers talk about rewatching your gameplay. And the reason for that is the watching film method. You want to rewatch it with the mindset of learning and improving and attempt to build your gaming or Destiny IQ. But there's more to it than just watching your recorded games. You need to understand what you are watching. Professional and highly skilled players know exactly what to look for, their flaws in their game. So right now we're going to go over a few of them. So next time you watch your recorded games, I want you to look for the following. The reason you died. Why did you die? Were you too far from cover? Did you peek a lane or re-peek a lane that was already contested? Why did your teammate die? Did you not re-peek with them to assist in the fight? Did you prioritize your targets improperly? In most FPS games, there is usually a power position on the map. In Destiny, that power position is usually near the power ammo. When rewatching your games, ask yourself this: how did you lose power position? Did you get flanked? Were you not looking at your radar? These are just a few, but high skilled players can look at footage and understand what adjustments are needed, where they can fill in the holes in their game and prevent unnecessary deaths or losses. Professional players use recorded footage as a way to improve their movement and to help understand the mechanics of the game. I will leave the final statement for the movement mechanics portion of the video. You can teach someone movement and mechanics. When it comes to aiming in any first-person shooter game, some of the most highly skilled players make it look easy. And for some, it is. But for others, it requires time, commitment, and dedication. These highly skilled players have perfected a craft, but each one of them have similar skills and techniques. Some of them have mastered them and have turned those skills and techniques into second nature. But what are some of the basic mechanics that these top tier players use all the time? For starters, they stick with the same settings throughout an entire gaming session. You will never see them go into their settings and change their mouse sensitivity, change their controller sensitivity, or change their basic settings. The reason behind this is that they are using the settings they have hours of practice with. When a player gets frustrated, they look for something to blame. And one of the quickest excuses is settings. Players tend to adjust their settings, which has a negative effect on them. There is a saying that it takes 10,000 hours to become a master of that skill. With the amount of hours you put into those settings that you use, your mind now has to adjust to new settings, essentially putting you back at zero. I usually stick with the term leave practice and experimentation for quick play and private matches. So quickly guys, do not change your settings. Leave the settings the way they are. In any first-person shooter game, there are going to be high stress situations. In Destiny, it could be game 7 in a trials match. One thing players tend to get is tunnel vision. This leads into a player neglecting their crosshairs and just firing their weapon. In high stress situations, one's motor skills can deteriorate almost instantly. One thing high skilled players do is take a deep breath and remember the 3 R's, which is reticle, radar, and ready. Regardless of how stressful the situation is, falling back on the 3 R's is a great way to succeed. You always want to remember to look at your reticle placement. In a high stress game, it's easiest just to point and fire in the general direction. Continuing with the 3 R's, maintaining radar visual in your peripheral is a great way to keep your head in the game. In Destiny, radars are very powerful and could provide you with a general location on where to aim. Lastly, you want to always be in the ready mode, ready for any engagement, ready for any loadout such as the mountaintop, ready for any situation. Remember guys, when it gets stressful out there, fall back on the 3 R's. On to the last portion of the aiming section. In Destiny, every Crucible map is full of lanes. I've grown to use the phrase, when in doubt, aim head level. In majority of matches, Guardians have a tendency to run around with blatant disregard. Aiming head level is a great way to catch these enemies off guard for an easy kill. By aiming head level, regardless if an enemy just jumped over you or slides out from cover, your crosshairs are in a perfect position to adjust and stay in the fight. And I will leave you with this final statement in the aiming section of the video. At the end of the day, you can teach someone how to aim. These players who have created a name for themselves all have one thing in common, and that is experience. For some, their experience has been developed over the years in multiple games. But regardless of how skillful you are, experience is necessary. You could have the best aim and map movement, but lack experience. Experience isn't something that is learned overnight. It's going to take hours of repetition. It takes going into each and every match with the purpose of learning. It takes reviewing your gameplay and seeing what improvements are needed. When one gains experience, they can see each scenario and see a way to win. That right there is learned by improving your problem-solving skills. This is why you see your favorite streamer accomplish some insane clutch plays. It's because that scenario was played out in their head before they executed it in real time. If your goal is to play like some of these top skilled players, these highly skilled players, then you need to build your experience. I'll close out the experience portion of the video with this statement. You can't teach someone experience. Everyone wants to improve and be the best they can be in any first-person shooter game. Remember that it's not an easy road. Sometimes the best starting point is building your foundation. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy content like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button because it's an easy way to support me and the channel. Also, if you want to see more Destiny content like this, then do me a huge favor and click that thumbs up because it lets me know to bring more videos like this. Other than that, you guys are awesome and I'll see you in the next video.